Welcome back to another episode of Jack's Tech Corner. I'm your host Jack, and thanks to the folks that's been subscribing to the show. There's a few more than there was the other day, and that's great to see. Also, thank you for commenting on the movies or the videos. I understand that the comments helped lift the videos a little bit in the rating system on YouTube, so that's a good thing. Today we're going to begin talking a little bit about the full editor of Adobe Photoshop Elements 6 to kind of continue our tutorial on Photoshop Elements 6. As you can see, I already have some pictures open in my organizer. I'm back on the wedding pictures that we looked at throughout one of the other videos. And what we're going to work on today is this particular picture right here that I took with the bubbles at the wedding flying up into the sky. Let's go ahead and open that up in our full editor. You could either highlight it and you can click on editor up here and you can click on full edit, or the way I like to do it is right click on it and go right here to where it says full edit. We're going to just open up the full editor. And there's our picture in the full editor. Now remember, I like to fit my picture to the screen, so if I click under view, I can click on fit the screen, and that'll blow it up just a little bit bigger just to make it a little bit easier for us to work on it. Now, once you get into the full editor, it's going to kind of overwhelm you at first until you learn what each individual tool is used for or how it's used. I'm going to introduce you to one of the most useful tools that I found in Photoshop Elements 6, and this is the actual tool called the Healing Brush Tool. What the Healing Brush Tool allows you to do is take out or kind of remove some of the mistakes that are in your actual pictures. Now, the mistake that we're looking at today is these wires coming through our pictures. It kind of takes the view off of the bubbles. If you look at that picture, you'll notice those wires popping right out into your face. And we don't really want those wires there. We want to see these bubbles floating through the air. The first thing you want to do, and always remember this folks, is to make a duplicate of your layer. This is the original picture, and all you got to do is left click and drag and drop it on top of the layer. And you can see we have a new background copy of our layer. And we can turn this one off. This is the original picture. The reason you're told to do that is just in case we make any mistakes, we can just trash the layer without trashing the whole entire picture. So that makes it kind of nice to know that that's kind of your safety feature. Now, to use this tool, all we're going to do is first right click on the tool, and normally it would be select on spot healing brush, but we're going to go to the full healing brush tool and just click on that to select it. And then to work on these, always remember brushes. Brushes are very important in Photoshop, in all the versions of Photoshop, and not to mention Photoshop Elements 6. Increase your brush size a little bit so you can work, with a decent sized brush, and then you'll see it. So you see the circle, that's our brush size, or that's the tip. And here I'll show you the bigger one. Watch. There's a bigger size. So I like to work, when I'm using this healing tool, you don't want to get too big. Get comfortable with it, and then you can start using whatever size you want. Now all we have to do is we have to pick a spot that's going to match or blend this wire in to these clouds. And then we'll do the sky and so far. But what you have to remember, folks, is when you're doing this, make sure you sample the different colors, because you see the clouds are different contrast or different color as we go through. So if you did this all gray, you're going to have a gray streak going through that white cloud. It's not going to look too convincing. The way we do this is hold your Alt key down and you actually sample a part of the cloud. So watch this change to see how it changes to a bullseye when I hold the Alt key down? And then just left click. What that did, that just sampled that color. Now just left click and color right over top of this, the wire itself. You can see how it disappeared. We'll go right here and color down. And when your mouse actually changes to the hourglass, that means it's actually working. Now in here the color's a little different, so we're going to take a different sample right about here. I hold the Alt key down, left click, just like a gun, just like a bullseye. I push the left click as my trigger, And now I could pretty much go right over top of this because it's all that white color. Leave it go right about there. And that's going to work to blend that in. There we go, we blended that. A little bit of gray here. Let's pick that up. Go right over that. And as you can see, it's not a real fast process, folks. This is a process that you're going to take your time on because you're making an illusion on your picture that those were not there. Go here, soften that out a little bit. You can see we're starting to get that wire covered up. Go here, and if you took a piece of that cloud out, you know that's no big deal. Go here, let's go back over top of that wire. And then finally here, we can almost go right down that wire. Like I said, I like to do it a little slower and sample a little bit at a time because you want to make sure your colors blend pretty well to make this illusion happen. We're going to do it here. Let's bring that down right about to that cloud. That's going to heal that. As you can see, this is a pretty powerful tool. I've used this to actually take people out of a shot if I didn't quite want them in a shot. And sometimes, you know, you get people in the background. And then we'll just go right over this. Try to blend that out. We'll blend that back down there. Just like that. And like I said, folks, you're creating an illusion that that wire was never there. Just go right about here. Just go right over that wire all the way down. There we go. And try not to sample over top of where the wire was. Sample below it or above it. That way you make sure you don't get any of the black in your sample. Get that out of the way. Again, it's a nice slow process, but it works very well. Alright, sample here. Pull this up here. Let that go out. Try to blend that white into, you know, the background there a little bit. So it takes a little bit of practice. But all we're doing is just moving our mouse over top of this wire and kind of blending it. And I can even extend the clouds up there if I want to fill that in. Nobody's going to know what kind of cloud cover there was that day. I don't even remember, and I was there shooting the pictures, so that tells you something. So we have to get the rest of this sampled. And we're going to go right up to there. And as you can see now, the sampling is done and all the wires are cleared up. And now at that part, folks, you can see that we have a picture without the wires. And seeing that we have two different layers, watch if I turn this layer back on, turn this one off, look, there's where the wires were, but now they're magically gone. Works very, very well, and once again, that is called the Healing Brush Tool. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial, and if you wish, work on some pictures. I would suggest taking some different items out of the picture and using that tool and practice a little bit before you start removing with a lot of different color contrast, because it gets a little bit more difficult, so take your time. Hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Once again, if you have any questions, please email me at jackstechcorner@gmail.com and I'd be happy to answer those questions. Also, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the videos, please subscribe. I'd be happy to have you on board with us. Take care and spread the word about the Photoshop Element 6 tutorial, and we'll see you next time. So long for now.